In this video, I'll uncover the #1 nutritional tool that you can utilize in order to drastically improve your brain function. In today's world, there are a lot of people who are suffering from brain health issues. These brain health issues come in many ways, in the way of psychiatric disorders to neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's and dementia, all the way to just the average person who's trying to get through the workday and they have brain fog, they can't focus. By mid-afternoon, their brain doesn't work anymore because they have poor brain endurance. And when these people go to the doctor and try to find answers to these issues, they typically are just given some pharmaceutical that covers up symptoms and causes further brain problems. So what I want to help you do in this video is get to the root cause of some of these issues and talk about some of the different nutritional things that you can do in order to actually drastically improve both brain function and brain health. And so let's go ahead and dive into that so that you can improve your brain health. But before we do, I'm Dr. Zarowski, and welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, it's a pleasure to have you here. Be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification, and join our notification community. That way it can help you skyrocket your health. Now let's go ahead and talk about how to improve brain function. So you're saying, Dr. Zarowski, you're talking about what we can do nutritionally. What you can do nutritionally is utilize DHA. Now, what is DHA? DHA is a conditionally essential omega-3 fatty acid. It's conditionally essential because there's some situations where you may need it and some situations where you may not. Now, in today's conditions, there are a lot of people who actually need it, right? Poor quality diets. Maybe you don't have access to food that has high amounts of DHA in it. Maybe you have a lot of stress in your lifestyle. These are all reasons that can make you need DHA, and really a lack of it's going to cause a huge amount of problems within the body. Now, when we look at DHA, it's highly concentrated in the mitochondria. This is the energy center of the body. This is where energy is produced, the brain, and also the photoreceptors of the eye. So guess what? If you have DHA deficiencies or a low level in the body, these areas all struggle. Now, it also is critical for eye health, immune health, heart health, of which I'll get to more in just a minute, cellular, and also brain health, which we're putting a huge focus on in this particular video. And so what we want to do is we want to utilize DHA to improve all these areas of health. Let's talk a little bit further on how DHA can actually help with brain health. Now, when we look at DHA in the brain, essentially the first thing it's going to be really wildly successful with is helping with decreasing inflammation, okay? When we look at inflammation in the brain, it is one of those root causes of major brain issues, whether it's psychiatric disorders, whether it's neurodegenerative conditions, whether it's something like ADD, ADHD. Inflammatory problem in the brain is one of those root causes, okay? And it's hard to get rid of because once you have inflammation in the brain, it causes functional problems. It causes like the inability for the brain to properly detox. And as a result, that causes more inflammation. So you get this vicious feedback cycle, and what happens, you really start having problems with too much inflammation in the brain, causing brain issues. It also is going to support neuroconnectivity, right? If you're trying to improve brain function, if you also want to make sure that you're not aging and getting neurodegenerative conditions, this is an important thing to consider. And then also it's going to help with memory, cognition, and recall. Okay, these are all things that a lot of people struggle with. And when we talk about this, okay, this isn't just for people who are elderly who are having issues, even younger people, okay? Someone my age, someone younger than me, even in their teens, they may have problems with memory, recall. And it starts in little ways, like they just can't remember things that people tell them. Maybe you lose your keys all the time. It's just simple things that start out like that eventually turn into bigger problems. Brain development is very important. DHA is so important for brain development. We're going to talk about that more in this video and how children drastically find improved scores in cognitive ability when they're using DHA. And then also it's very brain protective, which we'll talk more about, because when we look at, like I said, all these neurodegenerative conditions out there, if you're like me, you want to know why. Why are people suffering from Alzheimer's when it's something that is avoidable? Dementia, all these different neurodegenerative conditions are very important to make sure that you're addressing. For me, this stuff runs in my family. I'm very concerned, and that's why DHA is a big part of my overall health and my family's health. Let's talk about DHA and aging. We're going to focus a little bit on some other areas of health, but mostly focus on the brain health. So it's important for maintaining myelin and neuronal health. This is very important for overall brain function and health as we age. These are some of the things that starts to decrease. We start to get some degeneration in these areas as we age. We want to make sure that we're keeping up with our brain health, and DHA helps us do that. It's also going to help improve adult ADD and ADHD. Now, this is something that we typically think about in children, but there's a lot of adults out there who are not able to focus. They're not able to recall things. When we look at a lot of the problems with ADD and ADHD, they're not only in children, many adults have it. Unfortunately, they're just living with it and they're just saying, well, this is a struggle I have, but they're not knowing you can actually use something like DHA, and scientifically it's proven to actually help reverse many of these issues and symptoms associated with it. It also is going to reduce the risk of sudden heart-related death. Okay, this is very important. I can tell you in my family alone, people in their late 40s, early 50s falling dead of a heart attack just like that. And so the research shows us that it drastically decreases the risk of that happening. And it's also going to help decrease macular degeneration. Like I said, if you're like me, you like to ask questions. Okay, why are so many people having macular degeneration today? Why are so many of the elderly having retina detachments? It's a big problem. And how come this wasn't a big issue before, but it is now? And so what we're looking at here is, first of all, children who are in front of tablets all the time, children who are on computers, that sort of thing, and even adults, it's causing early macular degeneration. And so we have to just put the right things in so that we support proper eye health. Let's look at a mental health study. This is important. What they did is they took a group of adults, 35 to 54, and what they did is they looked at 5 major dimensions of mental health. And what they found is that DHA was able to improve mental health in a huge way. It was able to help with mental reasoning, mental flexibility, also memory and vocabulary, which are all good signs that if you're struggling in any of those areas, that you are having some neurodegenerative issue happening in your brain. You do not have proper brain function. It also is able to help maintain brain cells, very important as we age. Like I said, this is not just for someone who is super, up there in age. This is for someone who is, in their 20s, their 30s. This is all very, very supportive. It also is going to help with eye health. And what they found is in a 2009 National Eye Institute study is that you are 30% less likely to develop macular degeneration if you had high amounts of DHA in your diet. And like I said, this is something that's a part of my diet in order to help improve my eye health, because I'm personally going through a process where I'm trying to actually improve my eye health, and DHA is a big part of that. And if you're anybody who has ever had prescription lenses, you know that typically what happens, your eyes just get worse and worse as you age. Well, I actually would hope that my eyes can improve, and we're actually doing so, improving my eyes as I age. And so I'm actually kind of reversing that trend. Let's go ahead and talk about how DHA is important for development and for children, because like I said earlier, DHA is a big part of my overall family's health, starting with my children. Now, when we look at the mother, now if the mother is taking DHA, the fetus will get it, okay? And what was found is, well, we'll get to that in just a moment, but what we're finding is that it drastically helps the overall baby's growth and development. And now if the mother is nursing the baby, the infant will still get the DHA if the mother is taking it. So it's very important for mothers who want to improve their baby's health to take DHA. My wife is currently pregnant and she is taking DHA in order to give our child the best chance at life, essentially. Now when we look at our children, for instance, once they were no longer breastfeeding and once they were able to actually start consuming food, we started supplementing with DHA. And here's why. Children and DHA and eye health. This is one of the first topics we'll discuss here. Basically what they found is that they have optimal retinal and also visual cortex maturity if they're utilizing DHA. As someone who has had eyeglasses since I was a small child and poor eyesight runs in my family, I wanted to make sure that we do the best that we can to make sure that our kids get the proper nutrients to have good quality eye health. And so we utilize the DHA, and so far so good. Now when we look at infants in DHA, basically what was found is that they scored higher on mental and development tests. Okay, so basically these kids who were supplementing with DHA, they had a higher cognitive ability as a result of it. They were scoring better on their tests. They were scoring better in school just simply because they had been using DHA. Children in ADHD, okay, once again, this is a big problem. I take care of a lot of teachers who are telling me more and more kids, more than ever before, are coming to school with all sorts of developmental issues, okay? ADD, ADHD, and what they've essentially found is not only in adults but also in children, when you have an ADHD problem, basically what happens is this is correlated with a decrease in DHA, okay? So if we increase DHA, according to the studies, what we're going to find is that they're able to actually function better. Now, there was a 16-week study, 362 children. What they found is that when they increased DHA intake, they were able to decrease the impulsive behavior. Okay, that's huge. A lot of these kids, they can't focus in school, they can't function in school. DHA can really help. So what we know here is that DHA is very important for brain health, it's important for heart health, it's important for eye health, it's important for just your total body health. It's so important. If we actually increase our levels of DHA, consume high amounts every day, we're going to have much better overall health in these areas, particularly brain health. And what I'll do is I'll put a link in the description to the DHA that I utilize, one called Brain DHA in a clinical setting. It's a clinically relevant dose, which is important because if you're not taking enough, then essentially you're not going to get the results from it. So a clinically relevant dose, and also very pure. We want to make sure that we're not getting a whole bunch of toxins in our oils. We want to make sure that the oils aren't rancid as well if we want them to work. So I'll put a link in the description, and that's also going to have all the research and a whole lot more than what I discussed in this video. If you have any questions, put it in the comment section. Be sure to subscribe to the channel here. I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to help you be able to understand more about nutrition, well-being, reversing health conditions, weight loss, just everything you need to know to drastically improve your health. And also be sure to hit the little bell notification so that you're locked in, you never miss a new piece of content. And then lastly, check out my other videos over here that are really going to help you improve your health. And I'll see you in the next video.